Join us as we share our experiences, strength, and hope. When the world says, give up, hope whispers, try it one more time.
What's up, Mile High, and welcome back to Sharing Our Stories. My name is Slim with Nani Al-Jalil, Tomas Hernandez, and our guest, Dustin Chavez from Fort Lupton. And if this is your first time with us, I sure hope it's not your first time, but man, this program is all about addiction and recovery. We bring people in here to talk about their struggles with drug and or alcohol addiction and to let you know that we recover. Everybody in this room, everybody that you hear or see has had to struggle with addiction, and we are all in some state of our recovery, whether it's many years, a few years. We're all there, and we want you to know that if you're suffering, you can find your recovery too. So thanks for tuning in with us, and welcome to the program. It's nice to have Tomas back from Vegas.
Yes, sir.
Just, a two-state Superman now.
Man, I wouldn't know about Superman, but I'm in 2 states.
Two states.
You know?
We got to take a moment here for Nani. Nani, who every week is on our program. She's here, she sits here, and people that watch the program and some that listen that know she's here go, does Nani ever talk?
Mm-hmm. No, never.
Does Nani speak?
No.
Does Nani have something? Nani have something to participate in the conversation?
No.
And Nani, we love you.
She's like Stephen Wright, the guy on the couch.
Yeah.
She's just here.
Yeah, he just has that one-liner in the show. He just gets up off the couch and says, bam, that's it.
She's here for a quota, everybody. We have to have a woman. Don't you know?
I know.
Just matching a quota. That's not true.
It's not.
At all.
No.
It's really not true.
She actually started as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
So she's here not only because she was an amazing guest, but she became somebody who has been vital to helping this program continue and getting all of our guests on here. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Things have been busy with Tribe. There's a lot of things going on that I'm really excited about. So up in Boulder, we've been doing a lot of work in Boulder, which has been very exciting. And in Denver, we have things coming up for the holidays, which we're excited about.
What do we got going for the holidays?
Holidays, we always do a turkey drive. So we don't just give out turkeys. We up it every year. So now we're at 1,000 meals.
Mm-hmm.
We go out and we go find our people in the park.
Yeah.
And this year we're going to do a bigger, like our guest today with Nani. They're like a 1-2 punch now. So I'm excited to hear his story to put a whole lot more on it. I got my business development team at this table here, which the second to none. And we're going to have music, a lot of different organizations out there. It just gets bigger and bigger. I mean, it started just, because it was just a male program at the beginning. We had the staff house.
I remember that.
Yeah, we just had 1 million barbecuers in the back, and we just went and got a whole bunch of food and just started putting it in styrophones and then just showing up and walking around downtown. And it'd be like 5 of us, and then we do like 200 meals, then it went to 300, 400, 500. Now,
who cooks all this food?
It's all of us, the participants, the staff, all of us just put it together. And
Dustin, not Nani's gonna cook.
I don't know.
I think she's gonna watch.
I don't think she's probably.
Everybody wants to know, how does Nani participate? Come on.
Nani is not cooking turkeys.
She's
and
got
ham.
massive supervision
Not doing
skills.
it.
A lot of the time now we got Maurice and stuff. He's gonna be good, and we got a hobby.
Whoa.
But a lot of the time it was me and Dan that cooked the turkeys.
That's awesome.
That's our thing. We just with hobbies help this last couple of years.
You just go out on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we go out a week before Thanksgiving, and we get up that morning before, so we stay up all night and cook everything. And then we sleep in shifts, make sure everything's set up, and then get it over to the center now and plate it, make sure it's wrapped good, and then we just go out there. Like last year, it's we still got the effect, but it sucked because of COVID, and then they were doing a lot of the tent sweeps. Mm-hmm. So they were just moving encampments all over the place. So it was really hard to like get on a corner without, the police tripping. So we really had to like get up on our phones like there are walkie-talkies and get into teams. And then we're over here and then just do group texts. Then we're over here. So, but we got it done. This year we're going to be a whole lot more organized. We're going to be at City Park.
Yeah, no,
We're going to be across the street from
across
the
the
track
street.
center at the
Across
park.
Oh, okay. So then we're going to be so we're going to be at La Alma Park.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
La Alma Park.
With a location for just everybody in
Yeah.
the city that can stop
Yeah,
by.
Yeah,
All
so
of-
we'll be right
all of our unhoused.
exactly. So we'll figure out how that works and get them over there. Yeah, y'all gonna have to tell me how we're gonna get all the homeless over there. But All right, we're gonna be at Llama Park.
Yeah.
So if you are homeless with a radio right now,
Probably
Or
not. Probably
Facebook.
not a common.
let you know we at a Llama Park.
We're
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And
Or be on the
what-
lookout. Be on the lookout these next couple of weeks for our beautiful faces, because we'll be handing out flyers all over.
That'll be
Cameras
great.
in the
I love a
streets.
man who says "my beautiful face," our beautiful faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, my man.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
That's wonderful. That's,
Our
that's
beautiful
amazing.
faces. Mahai, let's get right to this with Mr. Our Beautiful Faces here. Our guest this week for sharing our stories is an employee of Tribe Recovery Homes. But one of the things, we bring in a lot of people that work for Tribe Recovery Homes, and I don't want people to think, oh, you guys are just trying to promote Tribe. We want to promote all recovery homes in the Mile High. We work with everybody. So it's not about, oh, you're promoting Tribe. We're just bringing in individuals who have a story to tell, that are ready to tell it and want to tell it. If you're one of those folks, you can come in here and do that too.
Yeah,
All
so on
and
the
people that work for Tribe are normally somebody who Tomas is like, man, this is my guy. This is my girl.
Yeah, the culture is taking off. So with the staff just brings everybody in. What's great about bringing like-minded individuals is we share a lot of the same values. So when somebody sets in, you just know they sit in that fold. But I like when you were talking about a lot of the different sober living and treatment companies out there. Like I like to give a shout out to Hazelbrook with Gino and everybody out there. Sherry with Aurora Sober Living, many more that's out there that are CAR certified, and that's Colorado Agency of Recovery Residences. They're going to have their big thing in the next couple of days, and it's if it wasn't for recovery homes, for people like us sitting at the table, I don't think we'd be sitting at the table. You know what I mean? There's some type of halfway house recovery home situation. So that boots on the ground situation is second to none. And if you see anything for the holidays for those individuals, please reach out to them, help them, donate. Because Hazelbrook will be doing their own thing. Aurora Sober Living will be doing their own thing. Oxford House, Monarch. There's the list goes on and on and on. There's so many.
And if you're like, you've never mentioned ours, shoot us an email, shoot us a text.
Yeah.
Get to us, and I'll make sure we mention yours too.
Yeah. So if you have an event, would be great if you can get a hold of Nani, throw your event out, and right before Thanksgiving, if you guys are cool with it, we're gonna announce some of those locations for those giveaways. So
Absolutely.
if you're a sober living or a treatment provider that's going to do some nonprofit work out there, like Stout Street and different other places, let's throw that out there for you. Just make sure that you get it to Nani so we can get that information out so people can eat. You know what I mean? It's the holidays.
You want people to reach you.
Yeah, you can reach me at Nani, Nohnie, at triberecoveryhomes.com.
Thank God I didn't have to spell that.
Right.
Yep.
Nohnie.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good.
Also, you can reach me. I'm a coworker at Dustin at triberecoveryhomes.com.
Yep.
Let's get Dustin going here.
Yeah,
Dustin, this is your show. This is your program to share with everybody.
One more. And Larry Martinez is out there at DICP, Denver Inner City Parish.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's one of my biggest mentors that I ever had when I first started in the nonprofit world. Denver Inner City Parish will be right there. They're our neighbors. So look out for that stuff. Larry, make sure you get us the information so we could go ahead and promote everything you're doing for the holidays,
And come
too.
on in,
Welcome
Larry, if
home.
you wanna come
I
in
haven't
and
seen you in
talk.
a long time. Much love and respect, brother.
Come in and talk, Larry.
Yeah, we got to get Larry on him, man. He's amazing. You got to we got to get his daughter on the.
Come on.
Man, his daughter
Come on.
raises food for like a whole different country, like in Belize. Puts her own money to it, buys the food, does everything, brings it out there, flies it out
She
there,
does
and does
what?
it. Yeah, she's a kid.
Okay, we need
Yeah,
they
she's
come together.
dope,
You
man.
come as
She's
a team.
dope.
You
Yeah.
come as a team. All right,
Yeah.
let's get to it. So let's waste no more of Dustin's time, because this is Dustin's time to share with you guys, Mile High. So our guest today for sharing our stories is Dustin Chavez from Fort Lupton, Colorado.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Good, man. Welcome.
All right, so let's see where to start. I think I'm going to go ahead and start to back when I was a kid. I definitely had a lot of issues growing up. I had a lot of family issues. I had a rough relationship with my father. I also struggled in school. I was ADHD and thought I needed to be medicated, but I never got medicated. I excelled well in sports, and that was kind of like where a lot of my issues, I think, stem from, because my dad was a really good boxer. He was a really good wrestler, and he pushed me a little too hard when I was a kid, and I always kind of felt like I wasn't good enough, right? So at that point, I started searching. I started looking around for like that sense of family, right? And unfortunately, in my small town, like there was only two groups, right? There was the white people and there was the Mexican people. And unfortunately, the minorities were always involved in gangs or just, drug activity and whatnot. And half of my family was involved in that. So I started picking up and started hanging out with my cousins, and I kind of got really attracted to the drug life, and mainly the money part of it at first. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. My dad got a good job later on down the road, and we didn't struggle too bad. But when I was younger, going to school with all the secondhand clothes and seeing everybody that was there with all the good clothes, that's kind of how that started. So I ended up starting to sell coke. And when I was younger, like that was the thing. I was like 13 years old, and I started diving into that. And, we always had a rule, like I called it my family, but it was, you can sell it, but you can't do it, right? So that was the taboo part. And so I kept to that code for a little while until I just started getting really curious, and I just started having my relationship with my family wasn't as great as I thought it could be. And like I said, I was searching for that sense of family, but there was always something missing. So whenever whenever I'd get really down, I remember it was a breakup, a girlfriend, and relationships are horrible, I swear, because they could drive you to some dumb shit. But I mean, even as a kid, because like when you're 13, everything's the end of the world, right?
Yeah, those are the worst, man.
Everything's the end of the world.
Your whole world's dead at like 13.
Right? Like, I can't see my girl. Oh, my God. No. Why? Right? So anyway,
I'm gonna die.
Right? To make that long story short.
The best is when your parents laugh at you too about it.
Oh, right. They're just looking at you like,
you
oh
got an
my
Hispanic
God.
dad. He's like, come on,
Yeah,
guy.
mijo.
What's the matter, mijo? Like,
What's wrong with
you
you?
don't even have.
She can't even cook yet. No. No. Okay. So. I believe it was a breakup, and I remember going over to one of my good friends. He was my best friend when I was younger. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but I used to sell coke to his dad, and that was one of our things, right? And he would buy like an 8-ball from me like every 3 days. And I remember I was going through it that day, and I came back. I went to his house to go sell it to him, and I told him, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give you this for free. I was like, but you got to let me do this with you, right? I didn't know how he did it. He ended up being the type of guy that I like to rock it up and smoke it, so we would smoke crack, right? And so that was my first introduction to drugs right there, was smoking crack at the age 13. And I took off. I was to the moon, and that was crazy, and that was one of the, let's just be real, right?
What does that mean? Like, you went to stealing car stereos right the next day?
No, that came later. That came later, way later, but we'll
Selling
get to
the
that.
VCR for
get to
crack
that.
rock? Like, yeah.
No, you know what though? Like, just to jump ahead a little bit, I did take mom and dad's TV and their air conditioner and then pawned it off, and then went and got some, and then tried to find something else, and they locked me out the door. So it didn't work.
You tried to get the TV back. Okay, we move on.
No, you know what? No. We'll touch on it real quick. So I did. At that point, I did try to get the TV back until I saw something else to take. And go get some more crack. That's how that one went. That's just real talk.
13 years old.
Yeah, so 13 years old, I got introduced to crack, and I started smoking it, and it was a recreational thing at that time, right? Like, I didn't get addicted right away, but it was a good feeling. And then after that, like, that whole sell it but don't do it rule became non-existent, right? Like, it was, I would sell some during the week, and I would get a whole bunch, like an ounce together, 2 ounces, and then I would show up to the party, and then I started to realize that being that dude was loved, right, by the people that wanted to do drugs. So I was that guy at the parties. Mm-hmm. I was that guy, like, hey, well, let's go talk to Dustin. He's got the shit, right? So, yeah, that's kind of how that started. And I remember doing coke for a long time. And you just all the way through high school, I started messing up. I stopped doing sports really well. I mean, I did really good in sports too. Like, I went to state for diving and swimming and diving. I could have gone to state for wrestling, but I quit wrestling because my dad was pushing.
Diving.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I would ever. The last guess.
Yeah.
I got so many jokes, but we'll wait until we go to work.
Yeah, let's get that. So, like, the teachers and everybody started to notice that a lot of things were going on. What's up, dude? I did wear the Speedos.
You wear the
we called them
Speedos?
grape smugglers, bro.
What was the
You called them
the,
what?
Grape
What was
smugglers.
like
Grape
the,
smugglers.
What was like
Yeah.
the Mexican version, the second down? What did they call? Did they like leave out a speed?
Just
like
chones,
out of
bro.
speed?
It's just straight chones.
Yeah.
The O's. Right?
Take out the O.
Right? Speed.
Something.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what Slim wore when he
Yeah.
came over, when he could have took the plane.
Back to you, Slim.
In my canoe. In my canoe, as I canoed here from Puerto Rico.
Hey, bro, you're aerodynamic. You got
Like
here
a
quicker,
swam
right?
over, bro. You're from
Because every
Puerto
now and
Rico.
then
You could have
canoe
took
would
the
go
plane.
slow,
You have
so
an
I'd jump
idea.
out of the water and I would push the canoe and kick my feet. All right, back to the story.
You should have joined the swim team.
My brother
man.
did. He's the coach.
You dove, the somersaults.
Right?
Oh.
Okay, no. So, you know, I started doing coke, and I actually found a relationship. And to be honest, that was my first relationship. It was like my first love, and I moved out of my parents' house pretty much like at 16 and a half, and I moved in with her family, and she ended up getting pregnant when she was a junior in high school, and I was graduating, and I was 19 when I graduated. And at this time, I mean, I was going hard, but I wasn't really going that hard. It was still just kind of like a recreational thing. And then I ended up walking in on my baby's mom and her new boyfriend having sex when I came home from work, right? Mm-hmm. And after that, I broke up with her. I couldn't do it, you know, even though we had it, like, she was pregnant, and we had our daughter, and her name is Araya, and I got permission to say her name. I got a good story about that right now. But
Yeah.
so we ended up fighting. I ended up taking her to court, trying to get my custody rights, because I wouldn't be back with her. And in my perception, I felt like she was using my daughter against me, because I know that I hurt her, right? Anyway, that was her way of getting back at me, and it really did work, because after I lost my daughter, like, I literally, and, you know, just being high and using that as an escape, I could never really just fully capture, like, my possibilities or, like, my abilities as a father at that time. And so it was a lot easier for me to give up than it was to keep fighting, right? Mm-hmm. Because I had that substance that could just take me away. And so I started using heavily because I lost my mind, you know? I lost my mind when I lost my daughter, and I didn't know how to get it back. And then, you know, fast forward a couple years.
Kind of like didn't care anymore.
I just didn't care, yeah, you know? I mean, that was my world right there. I had my daughter's name picked out since I was 13.
Wow.
You know, I always knew I was going to have a girl first, too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and, you know, so anyway, fast forward a couple years, like, I'm at my sister's house, and, you know, this was a rare thing because of my drug use, my family didn't like having me around, but I would still show up because I still wanted that sense of family, right? I ended up falling off my sister's balcony, me and my brothers, and I landed on a cinder block. And I remember that day very vividly because it hurt so bad. And it was probably like one of the only few times that I'd ever drank. I'm not an alcoholic, but I'll do every other drug in the book. Anyway, so when I hurt my back, I went to the hospital. And the doctor there, you know, I had a couple herniated discs, and because I drank, I was lucky I didn't break my back, right? But now the doctor there had given me a prescription. And that was, you know, I literally found a new love, you know, like it wasn't at first, but as I started taking the pills, like, okay, like now I feel better. I'm doing okay. And just because of that little euphoric feeling that I would get, which was totally opposite from the upper, it was a downer. Like it took a little bit to transition. So it was weird because like I had a prescription in my hand and it was widely accepted because it was from a doctor, right? And so now I totally forgot about coke, and I wasn't doing coke. So now everybody in my family was like, "Oh, he's doing so much better. He's doing so good." And when really I just replaced one addiction with the other.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing that we deal with in this field is like everybody just says because it's legal, it's okay. And be like, man, it don't matter if it's legal.
Yeah.
It's messing you up.
Right.
Like the law enforcement has nothing to do with it. And it's funny that we're saying that because we're tribe members.
Right.
Because the law enforcement has everything to do with it in our organization. You know what I mean? But as far as the addiction part of it is that's a real thing, man. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, you know, we get that mass confusion of damn, it's legal, I'm cool. Right. You know, that Budweiser's all right. I got this pill. This doctor wrote the script. How can this doctor be wrong? He's next to God. You know what I mean? You can't argue with me. You're not a doctor.
Right. Doctors save lives, so why would they put mine in jeopardy, right?
Exactly.
And I was, you know, and at the end of the day, just to be completely honest with you, I knew what I was getting into. You know, my little brother was struggling with pills, and it was just never my thing. I was always an upper kind of guy. And as soon as I kind of got the feeling and it was like a constant use of it, then I became super addicted to it. And then when I actually wanted to quit, like I remember my first withdrawal. I'll never forget my first withdrawal. I never want to feel that again. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. I really don't. It's such a painful feeling. But anyway, so I started doing these pills, right? And at this time, like, I'm doing good. You know, my family's kind of back in my life. I actually have a new relationship now, and thinking about going back to get my daughter, my oldest daughter. But at this time, I've been away for like 4 years. And so her and her new husband approached me with, will you sign your rights away so that he can adopt her, right? I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it at all. And the other thing is that her mom and I didn't get along at all. And so I had to really sit back and think about where my life was at that point and where I was going. And did I really want to, like, involve myself, like, jump back into my daughter's life as she's getting older? She knows this man is her dad. If I were to jump in and do this. So that was a hard decision for me to make, right? And of course, since, you know, with all hard decisions that addicts have to deal with, what do we run to, right? The thing that's going to make us feel better. So I started diving deeper into my pills. And I remember I used to be able to fill my prescription on time, right? And then it got to the point where I was like calling it a week early, you know what I mean? And doctors are sitting there wondering why it's going on. So then I start doctor shopping, and then I start going around and telling everybody, I'm hurt, I'm this, manipulating doctors. And before you know it, I got like 3-4 different prescriptions in my name for just, and I learned that you could do it for different prescriptions. Like, I got Vicodin here, but I'm gonna get oxycodone over here, and I'm gonna get morphine over here. And I had those prescriptions, and so I'm doing them. I lose my job because I start becoming addicted, can't show up to work. But then I start realizing that, oh shit, I can make money. I can make money off these pills, right? And so now my old addiction and now my old behaviors are starting to come up because it's like, okay, now I can feed my addiction. All I got to do is turn around and sell these things. And so, like, it was horrible because, like, I was doing so many of them that I literally had to go around and, like, find, like, older cancer patients, like older people that would rather smoke weed than do their pills, right? And it was crappy because, like, you know, in my heart, I did care about what they had to say, but I knew if I spent 30 minutes, an hour conversation with these older people that didn't really have anybody in their life, because clearly if they did, they wouldn't be allowing me around there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's be real, right?
Let's make sure everybody in the air knows doctor shopping and doing that stuff is a federal offense.
A federal offense.
Yeah, it's a federal offense, not a state offense. So if you get some ideas from our shows, know you're getting federal charges for this story if you try it. So let's not try it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Our guest last week literally went to jail from doctor shopping.
Yeah. And see, I got lucky. I never did that. I mean, we even got to the point where we stole prescription pads, trying to write our own prescriptions. And I mean, yeah, I'm glad that, I mean, there's a lot of things I'm not going to sit here and like, yeah, you know, I'm not going to incriminate myself, but there's a lot of things that I could have gotten in trouble for that I never did. Yeah, there's one time, right? But anyway, so, and at this time, like, my mind is so messed up, and I'm in this new relationship, and so I decide, and I don't want to jump back into my daughter's life, so I decide to sign my rights away. So that it would give her an opportunity, because I knew I was in no condition to jump back in this little girl's life and be what she needed to be, right? And be able to navigate, like, dealing with the animosity between her and her mom. And I would rather have my daughter grown up knowing what she's already knowing than to know all that hatred and know all that just animosity. I didn't think it was going to be beneficial in any way, right? So my idea was, all right, I'm going to become the biggest thing in the world, because then my daughter's going to see me and there's no way she's not going to want to know me, right? So that was my thought process. A little skewed, but you know, and when you're high, you feel like you could do anything, right? I mean, you're unstoppable sometimes, and sometimes people are to a fault. And anyway, so we're getting through we get through that. I didn't even show up to court that day. I literally went and got high because I couldn't handle it. I was literally just in my feelings, and I could not even show up to court to sign my rights away. So I called my lawyer and I gave permission for her to do it, and I didn't even show up to court that day. And I dove myself into the next relationship, trying to replace just that heartache, and at the same time, and mind you, so like all this drug use that I'm doing right now is being okayed and co-signed by the person that I'm with, because she believes in doctors, she believes in prescriptions, and I just keep complaining about how much pain I'm in. So like I'm manipulating the crap out of this woman, right? And so, and she's buying it, right? Like she's literally looking at the sky and knowing it's blue, and I'm convincing her it's purple, you know?
Yeah.
And it's horrible. And so I convince her after I just lose my daughter that it's a good idea to have another kid. So let's try working on another kid, right? We have our own place. I'm making enough money doing drugs, selling drugs, that we buy a house, and we're out in Brighton, East Farms, new neighborhood, new development. And so we end up having a kid and my son, and then the cat comes out of the bag, right? Because I can't maintain my high anymore. I can't maintain the money because I'm losing connects. People are dying. The people I were getting pills from. I don't have the kind of money that I had anymore, right? I don't have the drive that I used to have. And so the cat comes out of the bag and she's like, yeah, no, you got a problem. And I didn't want to admit it. And so I start going crazy. And now in my mind, I'm like, no, hell no. I'm not gonna let my son, and I'm not gonna let what happened to my daughter in me happen to my son in me, right? And it's crazy because the same exact story happened. I come home from actually trying to, like, I wasn't trying to get clean, but I was trying to work, I was trying to be productive. I come home and run into the same issue I ran into with my first baby mom. And so after that, I lose it, right? And I don't even, like, I'm like, I start doing coke again. And then there's really not any good coke around, so I start doing meth because that was the only thing. You know, I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to do anything. Didn't want to go home. I didn't want to talk to anybody. All I wanted to do was just drown myself in that and just create all this anger. And at this time, like, I start getting, like, really violent with people, you know. It hurt because now my son, you know. And anyway, I get in trouble. I get in trouble for a domestic violence charge, right, because we're arguing in the house, and I ended up throwing something against the wall, putting a hole in the wall, and I got arrested for that, which was kind of a blessing at that time because it put me in jail and it sobered me up a little bit, right? However, I still had my prescription, but I wasn't doing coke and I wasn't doing the meth. And so I was able to kind of kick back a little bit, and then I started realizing that I had the problem with the opiates. And so I never...
You were up and down.
Always. Up and down all the time.
So what does that look like for you? Like, you know what I mean? Were you up most of the time, then down? How did that affect you?
Well, I don't know how to explain it. I know I'm different though, because like when I would do opiates, like I would get a lot of energy out of it.
Okay.
Right, and so I could go, right, and then the meth, the uppers and everything. It was almost just a balance out, because at some point, even though you're going up with the opiates, you're gonna come down and you're gonna start falling asleep. And when that would happen, I would just do meth so that I could stay up and just keep going, you know what I mean? I was like a train wreck, dude, just waiting to happen, just going 100 miles an hour at all times. And so I started behaving like that, and then that relationship starts falling apart, right? And then it was crazy because I did sober up for a little bit because of my son's mom. She couldn't deal with me. And she comes from money, so like my whole Mexican side and just criminal, like that whole background that we live in, that minority background, didn't fit her lifestyle, right? And I was full go into that lifestyle. So she left. She up and left me with my son at my parents' house. Like I had nowhere to go. I wasn't paying the bills at the house, so we moved out of the house. She dropped my son off while I was staying with my parents' house because I had to move back with them because we were splitting up. And she was with that new dude, and so they took off. And they took off to Seattle, and she was there for like a month, and I had my son for about a month, and I had to like, I was like, okay, well, this is what you always wanted, Dustin, so let's get it together, right? So I was able to kind of like white knuckle it for a little bit while I had my son. And then I had a good heart, and because of what was done to me, what I felt like what was done to me with my daughter's mom, when she came back and was like, I'm sorry, let's work this out, let's figure it out. We don't have to be together, but we can share custody type thing, right? I was like, okay. I was like, you know, it took a minute. Everybody told me not to trust it. Everybody told me don't do that. But I'm not going to be that guy that keeps any kid away from their parent. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to let him go with her, right? And that was the last time I seen my son.
Man.
Yeah. And so
how long
now,
has it been?
Huh?
How long has it been?
My son, he's 16, and he was 5 when I seen him last. So
oh, man.
Yeah. About 9 years so far, you know? And which sucked because like I felt like if I would have been able to keep my son in my life at least, that would have given me enough drive to not go down the path that I did, and the path gets so much more worse. So after that happens, I'm like, forget it. You know, I don't want to live. I don't want to be here no more. So I start going downhill bad. Like I start manipulating my family, talking about taking their air conditioner and their TV.
But you took the air conditioner from Dad, bro.
Oh, dude, it was
in the summertime,
yes,
bro.
Yeah, it was, bro.
When it was hot.
Yes.
Window.
No. Actually, it wasn't in the summertime. I took it in the winter because I was like, I could get it back before the summer.
Oh, so he took it out the garage, and then he's like,
Nobody will
then he
notice.
comes in and looks for it on Canquero way.
I'll get it back here before it's hot. Before
I got
Dad
it.
will notice.
I got it.
Well, okay, and so at this time, you know, I'm going downhill, and like I kind of have nothing to live for, really, right? And then I get this wild hair, and I just decide, okay, I'm gonna pursue something that I've always pursued, and I've always loved music. I've always loved writing. Well, when I was a kid, I used to like, you know, those old phones that had the really long cords, right? So I used to, you know, on the Boyz II Men, or it was a Boyz II Men CD, right, or tape.
Okay.
Because if you bought the single on the other side, you had the instrumental, right? Mm-hmm. So I would take that and I would write my own lyrics to it, and I would get on the. As a little kid, I would do this. I would go
To the love songs. Huh?
Yes, to the love songs, right?
Right.
So, and it's so funny. So because it was the long chord, right? We always had this little closet that we would go into. And
The tough guys, by the way, the tough guys are always the lovers, okay?
Yeah, but you know, everybody Slim has been in this industry probably one of the longest standing besides Tony that's here. You know, we got world class, the heart of Denver in this radio station. But Slim has been around every rapper up to down in this Metro Denver area.
I've seen a lot of them.
But you gotta admit, all of us Chicanos like to rap over love songs for some reason,
Always.
bro.
Always. With
Like
the
everybody
most
wants to be
ridiculous-
Baby Bash.
My friend
Everybody
was just
wants to
showing
be
me this Brown Boy song
Yeah.
yesterday. I was like, oh
my
this
God.
is real sentimental.
Yeah. Like a straight sureño just talking love songs. Like what? Like, the
This
other
for
one,
you,
you were
girl.
just selling pounds of dope and you're a coyote. Now you're lover, man. What happened here, man?
Right?
So there you are, rapping to your boys.
Well,
to
sorry,
men.
yeah. So back in the day, like that's what
Man,
I
I
would
want
do.
to hear it. You gotta bring it to the
I
office.
don't have that, right?
Come on,
'Cause,
bro.
dude, these were done live, right? So this is the funny part, right? It's like we had a little closet that we would go into to have our
What if
phone
we had one and
conversations.
Daniel, play the tape.
Yes,
Bro,
Dan.
we are not.
Look it up.
All right, so we would go into this closet, like all of me and my brothers and sister. We would all. This was our spot to go have our private conversations, right? It was so not private because there's a piece of drywall in the closet, and it was right next to the living room, right? So I would go in there and I would sit there and sing to my girlfriends these songs that I would write, and my whole family would be sitting. Right? Seriously. I think my first one was like, I think I remade the On Bended Knee. I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was pretty funny though. But anyway, okay, so that's that funny story.
You know I ain't letting it go. I'm like,
no, that's okay.
all right, on 5. On
These are
bended knee.
stories of addiction and recovery.
Oh man, but here's
and
the
childhood love.
thing. And dreams.
I'm gonna give him like an award at the Christmas awards. Like
Right.
he's got the unbended knee award.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Goes to Dustin Chavez.
That's right. Thank you. So anyway, like I decide just get like a wild hair because I have nothing left, right? So I decide that I want to try to start pursuing music, right? And I'm back into my pills because I still have my prescription. So that's the only thing that really makes me feel better. And then I start feeling like and thinking that my creativeness only comes out when I'm high, right? Mm-hmm. And might not have been a lie, but I think I could be more creative now. But like I was still pretty creative back then. And I remember, long story short, I ended up manipulating my way onto a Latino festival in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, where Baby Bash, Amanda Perez, Lighter Shade of Brown, Bobby when he was alive. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Rest
that's
in
a little
peace.
Chicano town right there.
And so I remember I was dating this girl, and I went out there to go see her. And to be honest with you, I went out there to go hide out because I owed some people some money, so I took off. And I
do a show. That's
right. I seen a flyer. I ended up being able to manipulate my way, all based on a lie, to get on stage with the singers and everybody that I had. Long story short, I start doing music and I start doing these little shows here and there. Start thinking that I'm bigger than the world. I get in a lot of trouble. I get caught with some coke in the car when we come back from a show. And now I got a felony, right? Because back in 2009, possession of a baggie was a felony. Now it's just, it's nothing. They kick you out the door, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I get in trouble, and I'm trying to do probation, trying to ride it out, and trying to convince them that I'm an artist and I'm doing these shows and I'm doing all this stuff, which really, I really wasn't too much, but like this was my selling point. And either way, it was like, I got caught up in a lifestyle.
So what was your performing name?
It was called Who'da Thought, right? Me and my brother, we called Who'da Thought. I dragged my brother into this too. So and that was a shitty thing I did. Well, okay, so my brother's a really good dancer, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's always told us that me and my brother were not made for a little town, the little town that we came from. So we took that and ran with it, bro. And my brother can dance, dude. Like, I swear, if you put him on like that, So You Think You Can Dance, I guarantee he might not have won it, but he would have been up there.
They don't notice.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, he was talented, and he could choreograph, right? So
that's dope.
So we went out and found two really hot ass girls that could dance just like him, and I could dance not as good as him, but I could, we got rhythm, and so we were like, okay. So now I'm gonna write these lyrics, and I'll write these lyrics for you too, so that we don't look stupid, and you're just dancing up on stage. You can rap with me while we're doing this, right? Created a little group thing, and at that time, like 2010, that wasn't such a bad idea, And anyway, so we started doing music, and then I started thinking I'm bigger than I am, and then more drugs come into play, right? And now I'm starting to see people shoot up, and now I'm starting to see people get really ham, and a lot of alcohol, and just like drinking Pedialyte the next day by the case so that you could go back on stage the next day, and then, but at the same time, the music industry, it wasn't all full. Like, I actually had the pleasure of meeting Baby Bash, and, him being kind of like somebody that I looked up to. And just being able to like hear him speak, and he's a very grounded person, and he's actually very
him too, don't you?
Yeah,
good guy.
He's very anti-drug, very pro weed.
Yeah, he's
very anti-drug and anti-alcohol too as well.
I did notice that because SPM used to come up here all the time, and we'd get loaded, and Baby Bash would be like, "Oh, I'm cool."
Yeah,
and
and so
take off.
One of the cool things was in 2013. The culmination of all this in 2013, I was able to convince Bash and Heavy to allow him to come down to Fort Lupton and do a show. And we had nobody on the rider, so nobody was on it. We was just Fort Lupton. I had Denver calling me. I had Fort Collins, everybody saying, "Oh, we want to get him on a show. We'll pitch in." I'm like, "Nah, dude, I got this. I got this on lock." So we were able to get like 1,400 people into like 1,000 capacities place. Wow, yeah. And it was tight, right?
Nice little payday.
Oh yeah, we were charging like $35 a ticket and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm still getting high, right? And he doesn't know this because he's busy. He's a busy guy. And then like it kind of all collapsed after that because setting all this up, we made a lot of money, but I spent a lot of money trying to buy drugs, trying to feed my addiction that I was hiding pretty well because you don't see that many people like that. Like, when you hang out with them, you don't really hang out with them. You see them and they do their thing and everybody's moving around, right? And so end up like it comes out of the bag, right? And then not only that, but we're doing a show and then my probation officer sees me with some drugs in my hand on a picture that was posted on Facebook that I was tagged in. And so now I got them threatening to throw me in prison for that F6, by the way. So yeah, it was crazy. And now they know about all this. So basically, like I was exposed. So like one of the greatest things in my life ended up exposing me the worst, right? And that was hard. That was hard for me to deal with. And so I started running and I just started diving into the drugs even worse. And then I ended up...
It never made you go, oh man, these drugs are messing up my career choice, my career path. Instead, you just said, oh, well, I'm just going to do it more.
Yeah. And that was the thing is everything that I did, drugs were my driving force at that time because I had nothing else, right? Mm-hmm. And that was just the way that I did it. Like, I never really I had so many opportunities, so many good jobs throughout, like, my life. And, like, opportunities that people would have killed for, or they would have done, just crazy things to just even have the opportunity to have that opportunity, you know? And I squandered every single one of them just because I really didn't think about it in that sense, right? Like, I was like, okay, well, this one's here, another one will come. You know, I was so good at manipulating, and I was so good at, you know, just talking my way into everything. But I had no follow through, right? I had no follow through. And so I ended up meeting this other girl. Well, actually, before that, so during all this, when everything's going downhill, I end up. What you doing down there, bro?
Don't worry. I'm back.
That's tight. Anyway, I end up. So one of my really good friends from growing up, I met her in high school. As I was going downhill, she ends up calling me up, and we end up going out. And one of the second times that I ever drank, I got so drunk, and I ended up getting her pregnant. We ended up deciding not to be together, but we still have a decent relationship. And she was the only relationship that allowed me to see my kid, right? And I still have a good, strong relationship. Matter of fact, I'm going to see her on the 17th. She lives in Arizona. Her name's Ava. How you doing, Ava?
Yes.
And so, anyway, so after that happened, she was smart, right? So she told me what it was. She knew what it was. She knew what I was doing because I was pretty honest with her. And she told me, look, if you get your crap together, then I'll let you be in your daughter's life. But if your daughter will never know any of the bad about you unless you make it so, right? And so she did the best that she can to shelter my daughter from that, but she never kept her away from me either. She was smart enough to not let me around my daughter when I was too far gone. But that was hard, right? And believe it or not, that kind of drove me into addiction even more because now I had my daughter, but it made me start thinking about how much I missed my other two kids, right? And I was fine all the way up until I had that back in my life, right? Then it started making me miss that. So I started going downhill real quick. Anyway, I ended up meeting another girl who was one of my longest relationship of my whole life. And I met her at a show before we ended up stopped doing music, right? So now I'm looking at prison, but I'm waiting to go to court to do it. I had one more show. We did that. And it was the one in Fort Lupton that we did when I had Bash there. We had I met her before the show. She bought tickets to the show, and for some reason, like she made me want to get sober. There was something about her that made me want to not live the way I was living, right? However, I couldn't tell her. I could not come out and be open about what I was doing, and I was so good. She thought I was this good person doing music, doing all that, so I played on that, and so I lied about it, and I told her that there was nothing wrong, and anytime I needed to go get high, I would always blame it on either going to the studio or going to meet this or going to talk about a show.
Okay, so it really wasn't a hobby. If you got it going on this long, you probably had you had a couple albums, you had a little bit of a career to it, and you kind of messed it up, you know what I mean? So would you say it was a hustle, or would you say that the drugs, you could have been a whole lot better
without the drugs?
Without the drugs, you could have made it to something. Because, I mean,
yeah.
A guy like Baby Bash is giving you some shine. I mean, he's a pretty hard judge to get on that stage with. You know what I mean? So you had some talent there. So, you know, just wanted to make that clear to everybody. You know, it's crazy how, you know, Slim is an amazing individual that made it through his recovery, through hurting himself through alcohol, you know, and how much better he is now, like going from just a personality to actually almost running this whole damn radio station with our big boss here, you know, from getting in recovery. It's just, you know, that whole thing is magic, you know. So when you talk about that, it's crazy how we have these little small talents and we think they're hobbies. It could have been so great.
Could have been so much more. Yeah, could have been so much more. And that's what everybody would always tell me too. They're like, "Why are you wasting your talent?" Anyway, fast forward because I know we're running out of time, but I like to. So anyway, that relationship goes, and she tries to stick with me through it. After about a year or two, I end up having to come out and tell her, I'm like, "Look, I don't want to live this way no more, but this is what I've been doing." But the fact that I had lied to her for a year and a half broke her heart. She couldn't trust me anymore. And so as I'm sitting here trying to get clean, it's not working. I end up going to prison over that charge because I'm falling apart. I'm trying to do Suboxone. I'm trying to get all these things together, and just nothing's working for me, right? Because I've created this chaos in my life that I have no avenue to go, and I'm still trying to maintain a relationship, which is impossible, right? Mm-hmm. And so fast forward, I get out of prison. We try to work it back out, and it doesn't work. And because of the fact that it doesn't work, I start using again. and I get in more trouble, right? And now I'm doing like a 8-month, tour doing Jefferson County, Denver County, Weld County, Adams County, trying to get all these charges dropped. And I get lucky, I get blessed, right? So I get myself into Stout Street, and as an alternative sentencing, right? And this is 2019, and I go. And now, I'm going, but because I had so many cases everywhere else, I had my governing case. I had my governing case in Jefferson County, but I had a case in Weld County that I had to do 16 months county for, right? So, but I get accepted to Stout Street in Jefferson County, and then I'm like, okay, so I file a motion, I manipulate my way through Weld County to get them to run concurrent and to do that case as long as I complete it with Stout Street, right? So I go to Stout Street, and it's rough, dude. Stout Street's rough, but I love you, Stout Street. I give you mad props. This is my credit to Stout Street. Love you guys. Everybody over there at Stout Street.
Program.
No, it's a tough program.
It's a tough program, but they got it together.
They do, and it's a great program. And I'll tell you what, Stout Street saved my life.
Mine too.
It did. It didn't. At the end of the day, it brought me to where I am right now. Right? It gave me the tools that I needed to get here.
They get a lot of props around here.
And so I'm at Stout Street, and I'm there for about 3 months. I get off my 90-day restriction. I start getting a little bit more. I get visits. Well, because I'm doing good and because I got myself in there, my ex decides that she wants to come visit me, right? And this is when I learned that I did everything, all of that recovery for the wrong person. I did it for my ex, right? And that was the day that made my day, because now I don't have my daughter. I don't have my other daughter. I don't have my son. I have nothing. My family's pretty much given up on me because they've done everything they can to try to help me. And so I leave. I leave that day that she came to visit. And I leave with her, and I do good. I do good for about 3 months, right, until we're not good. When we weren't good, it took me all but 4 hours to get high. And you know why?
Because you didn't do it for you.
Well, that.
You made her your higher power.
Yeah, exactly. I made her my higher power, and that's the only. And it didn't work. And when I realized that, I was already too deep in, right? And so now I'm shooting up. Now I'm using the needle. I got scars and everything all over my arm, and I'm going downhill. And I'm using every drug in the book. Like at this point, it's not what do you do, it's what you got, And I didn't care what it was. I was putting it in my body. I did not want to live. I was literally trying to die. I got arrested. I manipulated my way out of things. And because COVID hit, nobody was getting arrested. Nobody was going to jail, right? You could be committing crimes out there like crazy. And because they didn't want the COVID thing being spread, if it wasn't a crime against a person, you were not going to jail. And that's what it was. Right? And so that was like a free-for-all. And at this time, nobody wants me to live with them. Nobody wants me to stay with them, so I become homeless. And as I become homeless and it becomes winter in Denver, we all know it gets cold out here.
Yeah, ain't easy.
And so I, have a couple of friends that steal cars. And so I start getting into the car thieving business, right? And I'm not proud of it. This is just my story, right? I start stealing cars and I get really good at it. And then because I'm super in my addiction, now I'm being seen like, oh, he can get cars. So now I'm selling cars. Now I'm doing this. And now I'm taking them places that I shouldn't be taking them. I'm not going to say any more than that. And then, now I got cops watching me. Now I got people following me. Now I got feds following me. Now I'm in part of a big ring and whatnot, however that goes. And I got really blessed. I'm not going to really talk too much more about it, but I ended up getting arrested one night. My thing was, we never stopped, and that was so dangerous because the drugs and everything in my life had led me to a point where I didn't care if I was running from the cops or who I put in danger or who was around, and I didn't care. I wasn't stopping. We were all going home, right? At least that was my thought, and that was so dangerous because if it would have got so much worse, I probably could have ended up killing somebody, or I could have injured a family or whatnot, or how it would have ever, any catastrophe that you can think of, that's where I was headed, right? And I ended up getting a car to go pick up one night, and the guy stops the car, and I'm yelling at him, and I'm telling him, dude, what are you doing? Why are you stopping? And he was just too scared to drive off, and I was so thankful for that because as he did that, I was able to go into jail and sober up again, right? Because I really didn't want to be living like this. I just didn't care anymore, right? And then once I sobered up, this was literally like last July, I get arrested. And so you know, in my head, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this. And they're offering me 38 years. You know, I'm looking at 38 years. And so I sit there and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm not going to let it happen. So I call Stout Street back and I ask them if they'll accept me back again, right? And they do. By the grace of God, they accept me back. And there's a, you know, I gotta give a shout out to Carly. That girl, she works in the outreach over there at Stout Street. And that girl, that team fought for me to get there. They fought and they showed up at court, and they guaranteed
it's not easy.
Yeah,
it's not easy to go back after you leave.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And so they fought and they got me back in there, and I'm so thankful for it because this time I was doing it for me.
Yeah, there's a old saying in prison. The first NA meeting I went to in the joint, and the guy talks about I was too scared to care.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when you finally get caught, you're like, wait, I care.
Yeah, I care
You
now.
know, I care now. I care a lot. You know what I mean?
When you're looking at football numbers,
Yeah.
you get scared,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You're like,
basketball
oh,
numbers.
Yeah, you're like, what? Anyway, so
Yeah.
I'm looking at that time, right? But now I got like 15 different charges, and 8 of them are aggravated motor vehicle theft. And because of how many that I had gotten previous to that, like I didn't care. Like a COVID, I was getting in trouble, but that still wasn't a crime against a person, aggravated, unless you were to actually like jack somebody for their car. That would be a crime against a person, right? So they were letting us out. We were running amok, and it was almost like we were unstoppable, right? And like I said, to a fault. And so I end up getting into Stout Street. I had to manipulate the judge because nobody was going to bond me out. Nobody could afford these bonds. Every single bond that I had was like $50,000 and up, right? And realistically, there's nobody in my family or anybody that could even cover that with equity or anything.
Probably trust you.
Not even that, right? Yeah, and that'd be the biggest thing. And so I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to get into Stout Street, how to do this. And I didn't want to sit in jail because now it's blues. It wasn't heroin anymore. It was the fentanyl. And
Now
fentanyl.
you playing with your life.
Yeah, dude, and fentanyl was running rampant. It probably still is, but I was in Adams County, and fentanyl was running rampant in there. So my selling point was I went in front of the judge, and I said, absolutely not. I was like, there's 6 people that overdosed in my pod, and I'm an opiate addict, and you cannot control the flow of the drugs that are coming through here, and I would be safer in a treatment facility right now. And I got accepted to Stout Street, so I don't know what we have to do, but we're going to figure this out today. And they went and they deliberated or whatever they call that, and they came back and the judge granted me, because Carly and them had fought so hard for me to get there, granted me PR bonds on every single one of my cases upon, like, I had to go, like, with the condition that I would be released to Stout Street. So they would have to come pick me up, and I would have to be there. And now I'm, like, heavy stipulated, right? But I'm also not even sentenced yet. So I'm in Stout Street, and this is something that Stout Street doesn't do, right? Like, you're supposed to be sentenced and ready to go before they even accept you. I don't know how this all worked out, but we worked it out, right? And so
We do that.
Yeah, Tribe does that. We got you. We gonna help you. You come on through. But, anyway, so I go to Stout Street, and this time I'm there for myself, and I'm doing great, and I'm doing so good that when court time comes around, June 14th, my sentence date, and it took them 2.5 hours to decide what they were gonna do to me, because the DA wanted to throw the book at me. He literally wanted me gone. He did not want to give me anything. And to be quite honest, like, I think we got lucky because they kept it in district court instead of kicking it up to felony court. And I got super lucky, right? Because we had a judge with a heart, okay? And so he saw what I was doing in Stout Street. I was, being of service. I was helping get people into Stout Street, which is funny because I was doing outreach for Stout Street, and now I'm doing it for Tribe. Yeah. But that's how that started, right? So I started giving back, and it was very rewarding for me. And I started learning the ins and the outs of, like, nonprofit and how to help people and how to do these kind of things. And I got really into it. And then Stout Street ends up not working out for me. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not trying to speak bad on Stout Street, right?
You already said
me too. I'm a split T too, but it saved our lives.
Yeah, it saved our lives.
And I learned Out Street the same way.
Yeah, so
I love the hell out of Stout Street.
So I ended up, I was made to leave Stout Street, right? I was told I could go back in a certain amount of time. And so my thought was, I don't know where to go. I have nowhere to go. I'm in the middle of Commerce City. My home is 30 miles away. I have nowhere to go. And so I go to my brother's house. I swallow my pride, go to my brother's house back in Fort Lupton, in a town I really don't want to be in because it's running rampant with drugs, right? I knock on his door. He lets me stay with him. The next day, I call Tomas's business, right? I call Tribe, and instead of waiting 60 days to go back to a program, I call and get myself into another treatment program because at this point, my mind is right. I'm doing really good. I feel good about where I'm at, and I feel strong enough that I can move into this program. So I get into this program, and, like, I don't want to say I'm breezing through it, but, like, I'm helping people from day one. The minute I get in there, I'm on stabilization. I already came in with a job because before I was on a 1.5 week waiting list. I end up getting, I end up having a job before I even go to Tribe. And the boss that I actually worked with is from Hilo Roofing. I'm gonna give a shout out to Boomer, Joseph P. Yeah, he's actually a graduate
Corey,
from and Corey Beach
Dirty,
and Corey Beach,
Corey
Good
Beach.
Dirty Corey. Anyway,
He doesn't shower that much.
they're very they're very recovery friendly, right? And so when I told him that I was getting into Tribe and I was not going to be able to do anything for 2 weeks because we have a stabilization period, he was like, no, absolutely, go do that, and then you got a job when you come back. You're ready to go.
Awesome.
So I'm sitting there now. I got a job, but I'm like knowing that they need people, and I'm seeing a bunch of great people around me like hustling, just like really struggling, but actually putting in effort, right? So now I'm like, hey, we need to hire some of these people from the houses. We need to do this. So then I start advocating for like, hey, these guys should come work over here. Why? Because everybody over here is in recovery. We need to do this. We need to get going. So now I'm like inadvertently helping Tribe out, right? But while helping myself, because that's my service. That's
Culture,
what I get.
Leadership. That's what we created, and you bought in and you did well, and that's why you're riding with it.
And that's the right thing. And then, you know, the thing is Tribe gave me that platform, right? Like they believed in me. They didn't shut me down. When I advocated for myself, they listened and they took what I said into consideration. And I'd never had that before in my life, right? Like I would always take dictation, but I can never, you know, send it. I can never give it out. And so now that I was actually saying things and people were listening and it made sense, like I started seeing that I could build a family, and I had a really good fellowship. Not only did I have the people in Stout Street that I was working with, that I, you know, created that fellowship. Now I had another fellowship that I was building with all these other fine gentlemen.
We dream together, man. It doesn't.
But you had
it
a
doesn't work.
determination too at that time.
Yeah.
Like when you called Tomas and when you were looking for another home, you were looking, hey, I don't want to give up.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going back to the street. You got me messed up. Like I was not going to give that up. And so I decided to
reach that point. You had already reached the point of doing it for
where
you.
I saw it with him, the name Fabian Davalos. When you said what sucks about being in jail, Fabian Davalos was one of our original Tribe members. Okay. He was not an opiate addict. He was not. And he found some fentanyl inside of Arapahoe County. Yeah. And he never made it out of that cell. Yeah. He was like a little brother, a son to me, and that was probably the hardest I cried, besides Matt and Bam and a couple others. But you made that choice. It's like, you know, one dies to deliver the next. You know, you made a conscious decision to do the right thing and to buy in. That's recovery. And what I love about your story is the buying in. Inspiration, not giving up. Yeah. Swallowing your pride, knocking on your brother's door, getting on that phone. I remember when I got kicked out of Stout Street, my dad was like, you got to get out of here because your mom's going to kill you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And my mom was going to actually give me a room. I in the good room, I wouldn't take a bed. I slept on the couch until I figured out where I was going to go next. Yeah. You know? I wouldn't take a bed. I had to go to a program.
And that's what I was doing. I told my brother when I knocked on the door, I said, look, I just need a week or two. I'm going to get into Tribe, which I didn't even call Tribe yet, but I had this plan, you know, but I was manipulating. But this was positive advocation at the time, not manipulation.
Let's call it manifesting.
Yeah, and exactly, speaking it into fruition, right? So I told him, I
don't even feel like you were manipulating that Weld County. When you said, I manipulated Weld County to get me into Stout Street, I don't feel like you did that. They're not that dumb. They're not that dumb. They saw a guy who was like, all right, I'm really serious about this Stout Street, which is why they were willing to work with you. You call it manipulation, they're not stupid.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. Advocation.
You're a good spokesperson for yourself. Yeah. And somebody listened and said, I believe in what you're saying. Yeah. That's what it was. You can call it manipulation. Yeah. Like I said, court ain't stupid.
Yeah, and you know, like I'm real hard on my outreach people. So Nani kept on dropping your name. It's like, who wants to be in my outreach team, man? Come on. Come on, man. Because I've had people make excuses. Like one lady was like, clocking the thing, taking care of her kid at the house. Yeah. And I was paying her for it, you know what I mean, to be promoting. I was like, who's this guy? And then I heard 1, 2. And then Nani was like, please just go talk to Melissa. And I went to talk to Melissa, and she's the hardest crowd on earth.
Yeah.
And she goes, I love him. I hired him yesterday. I go, well, too late. All right, cool. You know what I mean? And what's great about you're just all passion, man. Like, what I hear in your story is you didn't understand your passion and in love, and it killed you when you were a kid. So you try to numb it.
Yeah.
And you refound it in recovery, and you found some intent and how to work with it.
Yes.
When you lose it, you learn how to keep it. And that's the thing is, what we learn in recovery is about. My recovery is my superpower. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
In the last few weeks, a lot of stuff have happened, you know what I mean? And I'm just going to say, I'm so glad I just came from, my son was injured very bad. He was shot in the face last week. And today I get to be a father and stand by his side.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing dope at it and making my wife and my kids and my mother-in-law and the rest of the family's life a living hell around it, because that's what we do when we feel that passion and it gets jaded and it doesn't feel good anymore.
Right. Yep.
You know what I mean? Let me throw some alcohol at it. Let me throw some dope, because it's all about me.
Yep.
I. It's never about you. It's never about the situation. It's never about anything healthy. But when you get into recovery, and what I love about your story is you figured out how to take that passion, that intent, that love, that respect for yourself, and build around it. We can't, and everybody listening, you don't get things back overnight. So we ain't gonna lie to you.
No, you don't.
I ain't seen my kid since he was 2 years old. He probably still thinks some very bad things about his old man, and I can't blame him for it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well,
but the kids that I do have love me, and I'm lucky to have them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we lose parents. We lose the things that are the most to us. You know how the streets of Denver are right now.
Yeah.
It's violent. It's violent, man. Everybody's getting shot.
Yep.
I've probably been on the phone with more homicide cases in the last 90 days. I'm like, man, what's happened? Talking to a parent about the kid dead, or talking to a shooter, like, man, like I was talking to a shooter the other day. It was like, what do I do? I'm like, turn yourself in, man. Don't hurt nobody else.
Right.
Turn yourself in. Turn yourself in.
Yeah.
And it's always usually around mental health and drugs. Sober people don't go out and kill people.
Yeah.
Very often.
No.
Not very often.
You know what I mean? It's all about that passion and intent, and it's all about that heartbreak and not us knowing how to self-regulate ourselves and how to be okay with loss, and how to be okay with not having love, and how to be okay with people walking away from us and not agreeing with us and doing all these different things. And at the end of the day, what I love about recovery and mental health is you get to slow down, pause, and learn that for yourself in your own definition, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm proud to have you with us, man. Like, you and Nani as a 1-2 punch now.
Killing it.
Whoa,
We're killing it.
because Nani talks so much.
I know. You're here. I'm gonna need you to bring it.
She's the telepathy outreach coordinator.
Yeah.
She just looks at somebody and you know the whole paragraph.
You know everything, just with one look.
So,
That's all I'm here for.
Yeah. Before we end,
That's it.
before we shut this down, I
Yeah.
do want to tell everybody out there that it's possible, man. Because I haven't had my license in 20 years, and Tribe gave me the opportunity, being in this recovery, having fellowship, and living recovery. I've gotten my license back.
Hell yeah.
I have a car.
Yeah.
I'm signed a lease. I have my
man.
own place to
Come
live.
on.
And I'm working 2 jobs, but it's going to be 1 job because I'm devoting all my time to this.
But you got
one.
the energy to work
Yes.
2 jobs.
I do, but I don't want to lose the energy, so I'm trying to find
Don't want to
balance.
break
It's
yourself.
all about
yeah.
balance.
Yeah,
It's
you
all
don't want to
about
burn
balance.
yourself out.
And not only that, but
But
Saturday night.
4 years ago, you weren't
Yeah.
able to do 2 jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all I'm saying.
I couldn't do 1 job.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I
Okay,
mean.
so, but also at the same time, just so you guys, anybody listening out there wants to know that it is always possible too, because on Saturday, 17 years later, I got to meet my daughter.
Yeah, man.
The daughter that got taken away
That
from me
was
when I was
cool.
younger, and her name is Araya Alexia Anderson. She doesn't have my last name anymore, but that's all right. And I want to send a shout out to the man that stepped up and took care of her when I couldn't. Seriously, that was huge, and I'm so thankful
Yes.
for it.
Right there. If you
I'm
can
so
zoom in on
thankful.
that. Zoom in on that right there.
Yeah.
If you can do that, look
That's
at that,
awesome.
man. That's amazing right
Yeah.
there.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
You know, that picture right there speaks volumes.
Yeah,
Is that you and your
Volumes
daughter
right
there?
there.
that's me and my daughter right there. I hadn't seen her in 17 years.
That's
I
awesome.
even said it on the picture. I said I
That's a
waited
beautiful
17 years
picture.
for this
Beautiful
picture.
Man,
Yeah.
sitting right there on the air, right there. Look at that.
So I hate to say this, but our time has just flown by, Mile High.
Yeah, my bad.
No, it ain't your bad, man. It has been such an honor to have you as a guest. And I wish we had another 30 minutes for you because it's been great to listen to you speak,
Thank you,
and
man.
I really
Appreciate
appreciate you, and I appreciate your strength because one thing I caught there is every time you had a bump in the road in your life, you said, I just went in harder. I just went further into drugs. You had a bump in the road when you left Stout Street there in the end. You went to your brother's house. That was your chance to once again go, bump in the road, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's when you were no longer that person.
Yeah.
You know, and that the person I see now is that guy.
Yes.
That guy who's determined to continue on his path. And thank you for the work you're doing with everybody at Tribe.
And I know what we can do because I know you have a lot of stuff for Baby Bash. Let's find out if we can find him in some Z Cavaricci, freaking,
For real.
you know, the MC Hammer pants.
Oh, wow.
You know you might got a picture in your archives there, Slim.
We'll find
that we
something
can-
to embarrass you. I'm not
That's
sure
perfect.
exactly
with
what
the
he's
blonde
saying,
streak,
but
with his hair going on the side, little
Okay.
blonde streak.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Mile High, our guest today has been Dustin Chavez from Fort Lupton. If you have missed any of this program and you want to check it out in its entirety, please check it out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/SOS, sharing our stories. We also have a YouTube page where you can like and subscribe and check out this program. We record it every Wednesday, so if you want to catch it live on Facebook or YouTube, Wednesday evenings, you can do that. Of course, we're here on your radio every Sunday morning. This is Sharing Our Stories. Special thanks to Caring for Denver. They are an organization here in the Mile High that helps our recovery community stay connected to better assist our Denver community. So thank you to Caring for Denver for their sponsorship of this program. Also, Tribe Recovery Homes. Go to triberecoveryhomes.com or give them a call at 720-60-TRIBE. You can reach anybody here at this table at Tribe Recovery Homes. And we thank you for being here once again. Round of applause to Dustin for being our guest and for your recovery. Congratulations. And Mile High, we'll see you again right here for Sharing Our Stories.